my trash, I have a better record than you in Street Fighter 6. Head to head, I beat you.
Nice. A year ago. Play me now.
If you beat somebody at a game, are you better than them? Because lifetime, I've beaten Tyler more than he's beaten me.
Anything in-game or out, I am the greatest. I'm going to crush him live on stage.
If he were to lose to me, it would be an irreparable stain on his reputation.
I've been getting rumors that I'm a product. It's going to be so embarrassing for him. Everybody's going to be cheering my name. Tyler won. Tyler won. I'm a 6'5", 255-pound gaming legend. I'm great at everything I touch. Chess, Street Fighter 6, absolutely, I am the greatest.
Tyler, I respect you. We're friends till death. I'll be at your funeral. But this is gonna be the worst weekend of your life. And I'll be there to pick you up when it's all over.
Welcome to the Friday Night Showdown presented break free by Visa. If you're ready for some Tyler 1 versus Ludwig, let me hear you make some noise. There's been a whole lot of trash talk. We've seen it all over social media. We've seen it on Twitch. But the beautiful thing about the FGC is that it gets handled right here, right now on the sticks. The time for talking is just about done. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to bring out our players? Okay. First, coming to the stage, fighting out of the Midwest. He is a multi-role, multi-region challenger from League of Legends. This is one of the biggest streamers on planet Earth today, and he has been putting in that work with Knuckle Do Dang on that modern guile. Put your hands together for Tyler 1!
They got Ludwig's bomb-headed you, Ludwig. This stupid son of a... Ah! Come on, man! Let's go, baby!
Are they playing a trailer? Oh no, it's a walkout. I was about to say. I was about to say, like, what am I looking at? Bro, they're gonna sit there talking first? Oh, great. Oh, great. God damn it, dude. Why'd you stand at him like that? Where's audio?
Okay, oh, we're good? Okay, the video just background. All right, Tyler. So, I already heard somebody scream out immediately, beat his ass! So
beat
you
his
have
ass!
a whole lot of support. How are you feeling going into this? You came out here with a lot of energy, like you confident. What's going on?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been putting blood, sweat, tears in this. I've been practicing for like 2 months. This took forever to come, by the way. Ludwig's scrawny, pipsqueak, extremely pale, terrible at almost every single thing he does. So I mean, I'm not really worried at all.
Whatsoever. My man is talking crazy, but he has been putting in that work to back it up. But there is someone that has something to say as well. Coming to the stage, one of the fighting prides of New Hampshire. Of course, at one point, this was a top 50 Smash player in Arizona. Of course, one of the biggest streamers in the world. Put your hands together for Ludwig!
What are you trying to get out of this, by the way?
I don't want to be your friend. I want to be like your ride or die. You know what I'm saying? Thoughts?
We got the left one. Okay. Ludwig. Said a lot. Said that you're scrawny. Said that you're pale. Said that you're bad at everything that you do. How do you respond to this right now, brother? There's a lot of people watching.
You know, a lot of people want me to beat Tyler's ass. A lot of people don't like Tyler 1, especially on a website known as Reddit.
I heated it up, but
I think
wasn't
you're
hot
all
enough.
fucking losers. Tyler 1 is the greatest thing to happen to Street Fighter in the
wow.
last year. Unfortunately, you're a bitch-made modern player.
Ooh, tell him. Tell him. Hold on, I'm rooting for Ludwig.
And today,
Bitch made modern.
Classic is gonna win.
Bitch made modern.
The modern
Tell 'em.
slander is crazy.
Nah,
Tell
Classic
'em.
versus players who have
Never
no
mind.
life. I have 2 kids, by the way.
I need
don't got time
I
to
need
sit here and
Ludwig to
learn
win.
combos the entire day.
Yo, I heard
Bitch
some
made
bull-
modern,
Can we
tell
boo
'em.
that statement though? That's crazy. Can we boo that?
Why's the caster telling the crowd to boo me?
It's the FGC, baby. It ain't always the most professional. I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay, so we know that
It's
Tyler
FGC.
Wood
Who the fuck
has been
cares?
putting in the work. We've seen him grinding hours and hours. Ludwig, some people have said that you might not really be locked in. What's going on, man?
A lot of people like to talk.
I
They
swear to
think
God,
ranked
this dude
is all
better have
that
been
matters.
practicing.
Tyler discovered the training room last week. I discovered it 2 months ago. I've been training every single day, and I'll tell you right now, I don't play E Honda, I don't play JP, and I don't play Ingrid.
Who does he play?
There is a secret character coming out,
Who the fuck does he play? What if he
and I
plays
think she's
Gal
gonna
as well?
kick some ass.
She?
He
Cammy?
said she. Who is it? She? We'll find out.
You really got no idea. Okay, last thing that we need is a face-off, ladies and gentlemen. Do we need the face-off?
It's gonna
Right
be Cammy.
here, right now, all that talk.
I don't
gotta
think we
see it,
mind.
Mano y mano. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, hold on, Big Swole. Hold on, Big Swole. It is about that time to get into this.
It's gonna be
first
Mai
intent. But before we
or
do,
Cammy.
actually, you guys can go ahead and
If
take
it's
your
Marisa,
seats.
yeah, just
Take
back it
your
up.
seats, and we have to bring up our amazing commentary trio: Justin Wong, Eli Joe, and James Chin. Let's go, fellas. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Over there.
Yo, I heard my man talking some
He wilded out.
You love it.
You know you love it, man. This is what
If it's Manon,
FGC is all
if it's
about, man.
Manon, I swear
That's
I'm not watching
insane.
this.
All right.
If it's
But I
Manon,
am
we're
curious to
getting on a
see
game.
who Ludwig
I'm
is
not
gonna
watching
pick.
this
He
if it's
says
Manon.
she, right? So,
Yo,
Who does
if
he
it's
strike
Manon,
you at?
where I'm finishing my food, I'm closing this
I
shit.
said Cammy.
no,
No
you-
way,
I mean,
no
no,
way.
It's
what about
Cammy. It's gotta be
right?
Cammy.
Just go with the Mai. I don't know about Mai.
I'm pretty sure it's
maybe
Cammy.
Marissa? Armor?
Oh my
I'm
fucking
just saying,
god.
Marissa's a good
Right?
call.
Marissa's a good call.
That's
I
a
think.
good call.
It could be
Because it's
Marissa.
easy damage, quick, right? And we don't know if Tyler One knows the matchup on how to stop Gladius.
But Gal does beat Marissa, but does he know? You're right. Does
Yeah,
he
right?
know?
It's knowledge check. But I have seen a lot of Tyler One streams. He's been playing lots of rank.
Yo.
My man is rank.
I was
He is
in
grinding.
Tyler One stream the other day, and I'm like, yo, this boy is grinding. He is
Dead ass.
playing, and he's mad good, by the way. No offense to Ludwig, I haven't seen him streaming and grinding, but I definitely saw my man Tyler One cutting it up in ranked.
Who's
For
been
real.
coaching him? I wonder.
At least he was, when I saw
Someone's been coaching him.
17 MR, high master.
Like
I wonder
1700
who.
more.
Yeah,
That's legit.
It's legit. So I'm curious to see, like,
But the element of surprise.
element of surprise.
That's a big one. Knowledge check. Knowledge check is huge,
Yeah.
especially in this
Marissa?
game.
I don't know. I think
I
I
mean,
think the
he
Marissa,
knows who he
what
plays.
character, all the
But
crowd, what
Tyler
character
doesn't know
do you
what
think
Ludwig
Ludwig is
plays.
going to play? See,
Wait,
Viper.
wait. Hold on,
No
hold
way,
on,
see
hold on.
Viper.
Hold on.
No fucking
My-
way.
Okay, hold on, wait. Marissa? Cammy?
Okay.
Viper?
No fucking way he's
He
playing
ain't using
Viper.
Viper.
There's
No
no
way.
way he's
There's
using
no
Viper.
way.
No,
You're wrong.
There's
There's
no way
no
he's using
way.
If
Viper.
he uses Viper, how much money do I have?
You'll shave your head.
Manon?
You'll shave your head again.
Yes.
Like, there's no way he's playing Viper. I'm ending stream. There's no fucking way he knows how to play Viper. There's absolutely zero shot.
Mind games.
He knows how to play Viper.
Leak out information that he's using certain characters.
Zero shot.
What if he
all of a
goes right to
sudden-
Honda? What if he goes right to
Look,
Honda?
I saw the post of the secret account as JP. You know,
Yeah, he
I
actually
saw
mentioned
that.
Yeah.
And that's a
I
good
saw
character
the
against
secret
Guile,
account.
right? So.
And then I saw Tyler 1 practicing against JP
Kim?
in the
Maybe
custom room.
also he might have believed
That
some
could
of
all
the.
be
He got
setup.
baited?
He might have
That could all
drunk
be
the
a setup.
Kool-Aid a little bit.
That was a
Just trying to
shimmy?
lead him on. Trying
That
to lead
was
him
a
on.
shimmy.
It's got
That
to
was
be
a
Cammy.
real
He might already
life
be up one in the
custom
mental
match
game.
Cammy,
shimmy.
bro. There's no
See,
way.
that's the best thing because
It's
fighting
Cammy
game
or
players,
Marisa.
we play fighting games outside of the fighting games too.
I do want to say one thing. Tyler and Ludwig are allowed to have us coach them as well. So
What?
if they do need help, they're allowed to call us from the couch.
All right,
to
Jay,
go
What?
over there and give
So
them
go over there and
couple of
coach them.
hints.
So in other words, Justin's gonna be
No,
doing
Jay,
that.
So in other words,
you
Justin's
are the
gonna step up.
encyclopedia.
Big Hollywood like that.
My bad, OG. My fault.
okay.
My fault.
My bad,
fault.
OG.
You know how to play Marissa?
No.
But yes, they are allowed to call us
Yo.
up for coaching help. So
But we gonna gloss over the.
I don't think none of them are gonna do
water
that.
rate
That's embarrassing.
Ludwig just let off right there. Actually, they
Oh,
both.
man.
There was some classic hater and modern
yo,
rate
let
right
that
there.
pop off.
I like
I like
modern.
that energy
Let
though.
that pop
I'm
off.
Fuck
a
modern.
fan of.
Oh, hell
You're
no.
a modern geef enjoyer.
I love modern Zangief.
You like straight chaos.
Evil.
Somebody booed modern.
Yeah, let me
geef
hear
up
it
there.
louder.
Ew.
Let me hear it
No,
louder.
you don't hate modern Zangief. You hate
Hey,
modern
you can't be mad
Zangief.
at. Come on, modern
Boo.
Zangief.
Modern
come on.
Zangief
One
is
button
fair.
SBD is
Modern Zen.
One
fair.
button SBD is fair.
It's fair.
Oh
my
God.
God.
It's only a
Fair.
heavy SPD, man. Come
It's
on.
heavy as- yeah, exactly,
It's not
heavy
even the light
as-
SPD,
Exactly,
right?
James.
See?
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't even
you.
know
Bro
why
said
we're
that shit is
having
I'm
this.
fair.
sorry. I'm on.
Thank you.
I don't
I'm
even know
on
why
Team
we're
Modern
talking about
Zangief with
you.
Justin
Listen,
over here.
you play boring Cammy. She was my main too, but you don't play anything outside your comfort zone.
Listen.
You play top tier.
What?
Wait, wait,
That's
wait.
all you
What?
do.
You play Nash. You play
Justin,
Come on, you
Justin,
play top
wait,
tier.
what did you say about Cammy?
Bro said
Huh?
What'd you
what?
say about
Honest.
Honest?
Honest.
Oh, okay, all right.
Honest.
Just making sure.
I mean, you play broken Kimberly, so you can't talk.
True, fair
Okay,
enough.
you
fair
talk
enough.
about how Kimberly's not that good. She needs buffs. Blah blah blah.
She does need buffs, man. I think everybody else there wants to see
Hold up.
Kimberly be
Yo.
even stronger.
No,
What?
see, they're tired of the 2 bombs. They don't want to see double bomb in the
Dude,
shenanigans.
What if Kimberly is who Ludwig is using?
Think about
No,
Kimberly.
Right?
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
I don't
think it's
believe
a little
Kimberly.
too
Do
much.
you guys actually believe that Ludwig has been secretly grinding? Because I do.
I actually do.
He's too confident, bro.
I actually do. I do believe he's been secretly grinding.
He is
I
too
do. I
confident.
believe
He's from the culture. There's
I believe
no
that.
way
It
somebody
all
let something
depends on the
interfere.
first game.
Yes.
Isn't it a
I
Gao
mean,
mirror
we'll
match?
see instantly after
There's
the first
no
game.
way.
No
There's
way,
no
no
way.
way.
It's a
Gao
Gao
versus
mirror.
Gao mirror
No way,
match?
no way.
What?
There's
It's
no
a
way
button
it's a
check.
No,
Gao
no,
mirror.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
button check,
Button
button
check,
check.
button check.
No,
Button
no,
check.
bro, no
It's
way.
a button
We do
check.
not want to see a guy mirror.
We don't.
Let's see.
I'm saying
I'm
right
a-
now.
yeah,
If
thank
it's
you, Rob. We
classic
don't.
versus modern, when it comes to Gao versus Gao, modern Gao is going to win. There's less,
Yeah, that's true.
stress.
It's just buttons.
You just hold back.
Just buttons.
hold
that's
back,
true.
press
So-
punch.
Yo, everyone out there, we didn't do this yet. Do we like Tyler 1? Who likes Tyler 1? Let me hear it. Let's make some noise for the boys.
Okay.
All right, cool,
All
cool,
right,
cool.
all right, all right.
But there's someone else up here. What about Ludwig up here? Okay.
I need Ludwig
that
to
was
win.
closer than
That was,
I do
that
not
was-
want modern
that
Gao
was,
winning.
That
That
was
was
super
50-50.
close. That was super close. Okay,
Okay.
I like
All
that.
right, so
I
just
do
wanna
not
mention one
want
thing.
Modern to
I'm
win.
actually worried for Tyler
Never.
1 right now. I'm worried for him because if Ludwig wins one game,
look at Tyler.
if Ludwig
That's my
actually,
guy right there.
If Ludwig wins one game, he can't block him because he's here in person.
You gotta
He
run
can't
the
block
set.
him.
You gotta run
Yeah,
the set.
so,
He's a-
you
he's
know,
a-
You
He
can't
blocks
leave.
the set, brother.
Wait, Tyler,
No
Tyler,
OF4.
you be blocking people?
He been one and done.
No, I'm with
What do you
him.
mean?
I'm with him. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Ingrid's fair.
He said he only blocked 2. JP and Ingrid. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you that. But Ingrid, let her rock. She just came out. You just don't know the matchup yet.
Exactly.
That's all.
Ingrid's definitely not block worthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. JP though?
Oh yeah,
J-
yeah, for sure.
JP, I can see
We
that.
gotta- we gotta co-sign
100%.
that.
100%.
JP
I fucking
out of
hate
pocket.
Ingrid's damage though. Oh my
You
god.
out of pocket is out, buddy.
Wasn't they banning Ingrid?
I'm really curious on the
I
character.
know.
That
I
was
want
We're
to see
funny.
the
all
screen.
just
I
like
can't see
sitting.
the
Oh wait,
screen.
no.
Oh, why did
didn't
we
even
not think
mention
about
Manon.
this?
I was about to
didn't
mention
even
Manon, but I was like,
think
there's
of
no
Wait,
way.
Kimberly?
No way.
Hold
Oh
on.
my
way.
fucking god! If
Hold
it's
on.
Manon.
Oh, he's teasing
No
us
way.
now. He's teasing us.
He about
You
to
don't
lock
know
in.
Chun. No way.
Chun-Li?
No way.
We don't even got
no
the
way.
DLC.
There is no way he knows Chun.
Yo,
We're missing season 1.
What version are we playing? Who's responsible for this?
What if he actually plays Aki?
You called
Wait,
it.
Hold on.
You
Am I-
called it.
Okay.
Justin Wong
I
is
told
never
you
wrong.
guys. Armor
He's
City.
never wrong.
Armor
That's a
City.
crazy read.
Muscle.
Superman punch, skip neutral.
He is never wrong.
Course.
Oh, I didn't do a
Mommy
predict.
coming out for the action. Here we go. It's game number
Right
1.
away. Oh, you can't do that. Hold down. Wait. Double perfect parry.
Double
We
perfect
got
parry.
that.
Hold on.
We
Hold
got
on.
those modern reactions.
Okay, let's see. He's gonna try to see. What? He got a mod.
Predicts up. Vote.
Hold on. Big Gladius. Big Gladius in there.
Yeah, Gradius, baby. Armor up.
Yeah,
But you
look
can't
at
do
this.
that.
Just gonna pepper him with the Sonic
Oh.
Boom.
There you go.
That counts. That's big. That hurts.
Oh, yeah.
Big damage here. Does
Oh,
he got
no.
a combo?
He got combos.
He got a
Oh, shit.
Same jump.
He got safe jumps. He got safe jumps.
We got
He got
safe
safe
jumps
jumps.
in the house.
What the fuck? Why does he have
Oh
six
my
jumps?
God. He
Oh,
has been training.
no.
Yo, Marissa.
Bro, he did. That was crazy.
Why does he have
This is
six
a flash
jumps?
kick right there.
Don't whip your.
Oh, shit. He knows how to play.
Okay.
Hey.
Obviously, Marisa could do a ton of damage.
This is the boom right there as well.
He got
Back heavy
safe
kick.
jumps.
More booms. Here we go.
Let's see what happens,
I
bro.
wonder if that was the dry rush.
Oh,
Hold
that's
on.
punish. No.
I like that.
Oh, you can't.
Oh my God, you can't do that.
You're trying to block
You can't do
with
that,
your
Tyler.
face.
Try to make the flash kick. Maybe a DI. Let me see it.
Oh, nice reaction.
Patient there, waiting for the choke.
The DI's coming. Watch.
DI's coming.
The DI's
coming.
The
He's
DI's
turned
coming.
out.
Can he react?
And
Can Tyler
That
one
level 1
react?
super. Oh no.
Ooh.
Game
Game
number
one.
1.
Fuck.
To
Game one.
Ludwig.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that
That's
pressure
game
hitting
one.
right now.
To be fair, I'm not surprised.
Right.
Ludwig knows how to play. He played
Now,
Smash
this
for a
is the time we try
shitload
to
of time.
see if he can make the
Oh, no.
adjustments, but
That's
again,
big
He played
damage.
Melee for a long time.
He knows, Justin.
he knows.
He knows.
Oh, he's
And
going
the
for the
setup.
combo.
Oh, he didn't block.
It's just easy damage combos,
Yes.
right? That's what he's doing right now. Nice tech on
That's
the
all you
throw.
need.
Yep. Goes through the boom.
I think this is the
No, he's nice.
Oh, he missed it. He missed it.
If he did a drive rush extension there, I'd have lost my shit.
Okay, all right. But there's a lot of life he's got to make up for right now.
He is.
Good audio's delayed, by the way.
Don't play in the game. Slow it down, Tyler. Slow it down. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
Don't worry
that.
about
Now,
that.
he can't take another
Don't
one.
worry about that.
He can't take another one.
Nah, he's good. There you go. Play the game.
All right, we got to back up.
Yes.
Looks like.
Yes.
Yep, there we go. But you got to be careful. One hit from Marisa will take this round.
Standing heavy kick as well. Where's
There
the
you go.
DI?
Good stuff, Tyler. Good stuff.
Oh!
He recovered in time.
Armor,
He
baby.
recovered in time.
Yo!
Armor, baby.
knows,
I
Casey.
told you, armor too good in this format.
The armor and the fact that if he ever baits out the flash kick, he can do so much damage.
Oh, we burnt out though.
Predict's gonna end soon. Vote,
Not
vote, vote.
watching his meter.
Yeah, Ludwig got to
Nice.
capitalize right now. He got Cal burnt out. He's thirsty.
Yo, Ludwig got these perfect parries on these moves though.
Oh, no, it's going to go over.
The counter? That's
All
gonna
right,
hit.
that's going to be the armor. There you go.
Reactions.
Oh,
Oh,
no
a
crouch
choke.
here.
Anti-air, that's a weakness for Marisa.
Yep. Oh, that would have hurt. Hold on, Ludwig's got bar. This could be the game.
Level 3.
Oh, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead.
Level 3.
Oh, my goodness. Game
He got
number
shit.
2.
Oh,
to
shit.
Ludwig.
Oh, shit.
For all the
Oh,
non-believers.
He
shit.
got that.
This is. He really has been playing.
He's been secretly
Okay.
training.
He
the
really
whole
has
time.
been training.
There's a lot of strategy that's
Oh,
going on with Ludwig,
shit.
right?
Let's hear it.
Marissa's a great pick. We got Armor City.
Uh-oh.
Right? You got Phalanx to go to Sonic Boom. But the biggest one is the medium punch, right? Because if you press light, the medium punch is going to just suck you in as a character. And you get a free combo because you don't have to worry about the hit. Medium punch.
Yo, watch Marisa.
Medium punch if it
I
hits.
think I love Big Bird's Marisa.
you can see it
That
right
shit
now.
is cinema.
He's tapped in.
Yeah, he's
I never
tapped in
forget.
for real.
2024 Red Bull Kumite.
Good stuff.
We haven't even seen the command.
That shit was
Trying to
cinema.
DI him. Look at this.
Was it 25? No, it was 24.
Drive reversal.
Drive reversal?
Gets the
He's
hit.
using mechanics.
He's using
Burns
mechanics.
himself out again. But they're both burned out now.
They are. Yep, wait for that. It all comes down to a patient game at this point. Yep, just block it out. Yep. There he is. That's a great trade from Marissa.
Yeah, exactly.
He could chip out with number
one.
one.
Oh
my
my
God.
The phalanx, the super. He picked a
Superman
character
punch.
that has all these anti-sonic
That shit go crazy.
moves.
Nice.
No, this is a very strategic hit.
It is.
Very, very strategic.
Yeah, see that medium punch again
medium
against
punch.
the jab.
And he knows the combos. Nice reset.
Same
Good
jump
setup.
as well.
Oh my God.
He's dead. He's dead.
Oh my God!
He's
He knows
dead.
combos!
Oh.
Missed
Bro,
it,
if
missed
he hit
it.
that into OD, he would have been
Tyler
dead.
still has another
He
chance over
actually knows
there.
like the B&Bs.
Oh, good stuff. Here we go.
Oh, there we
Yes,
go.
sir.
All right.
Don't do that much damage. He's modern.
Okay, Sonic boom.
Oh, but once again, the
Oh
medium
no, this is a
punch.
beatdown.
Medium.
The medium
This is
punch is
beatdown.
doing all the work.
100%.
This is a
Anytime you
beatdown.
block a jab or any
select
negative
This is a
play,
beatdown.
the medium
Select
punch
screen.
is
This
there.
is a beatdown.
Trying to press a button.
Nah, this is a beatdown.
Tyler has
Oh,
to,
no.
He has to realize that
Yeah,
the,
he's gotta go into.
oh,
Tyler's
that
gotta go in.
got to the other side, so it just beat the flash kick.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
no.
punish again.
He thought that there was going to armor through
Nah,
the
it's a
Sonic
wash.
Boom.
Easy
Safe
jump.
This is a
jump.
wash.
Safe jump. He keeps trying to
Nah.
flash kick. You can't flash
Do it
kick.
there.
I don't see
Yeah,
you
you
know
can't
that's a
flash
safe
kick.
jump.
Can't flash kick it. Oh, here we go. That's
You know anything about the FGC, this shit will always surprise you.
It needs a perfect parry. Just perfect.
Because what the fuck?
Block, don't
Block
back.
or block.
Yeah.
Tyler needs to go to character.
This is ridiculous. Tyler needs to go to character selection. Yeah, he does. He needs to cool off. I feel bad? No, do not feel bad.
No, I don't think so at all.
He probably didn't think
This is the FGC. Do not feel bad.
Ever.
And the thing is, when you're playing Rick,
That is not
a
his
character you
works.
commonly fight.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
good point.
And this is the thing. Maurice is the kind of character.
Bloodway's rank, no one knows because he never played on stream.
Just blow you up.
Everyone thinks Bloodway hasn't been practicing, but he clearly has.
A lot of knowledge.
Heavy knowledge check.
But I did notice when Tyler won, he's messing with his Sonic Boom. touch.
Overhead-
Every
oh my God,
time
he
does
blocks
Sonic
the
Boom,
overhead too.
He'll whip a forward
Wow.
heavy punch
Forward heavy
instead.
punch, forward heavy
So that means he's doing the Sonic Boom input way too early.
Okay, burnout.
All before he has chargers.
Yeah.
So he's doing back fist because not
And
enough
that's a
guard.
great example there, too. After blocking the Gladius punch, you know, Tyler 1 should be pressing the advantage right there, but he's just letting Ludwig
Ludwig's
be
the
able
winners.
to get away with it.
Sometimes just knowing the frame data is not that easy, right?
Right.
Especially
Oh,
if
there
you're
you
not
go.
used to Street Fighter.
You're
That's going to be
dead.
dead
He's
right
dead.
there.
He's dead.
You're dead. Oh
Look at that.
no.
That one combo.
To
That's all he
You're
needs, right?
dead,
One combo.
bro.
He just looks for that medium punch, medium
Oh
punch.
no, bro.
Tyler's got to take a
You have to go to
take a
character
break.
select screen.
Take a break.
Go
Character
to
select
character
screen.
select
You know what the thing
screen.
is?
Please.
You might have to block Marissa's from now on.
Go, this is not normal. Go to
He
character
must have blocked
select screen.
Marissa's.
It's been 2 O's, 2 O's. Bro, you need to cool down.
So my question to you guys, though, if Tyler can't get a single game,
Oh
because
my
you call him
God, this
Tyler
guy is
Zero from
trolling.
now on?
Yeah, we gotta change his name to Tyler
Yo,
Zero.
what are we doing?
Yeah, all right, James.
Great.
You got one.
What are we
You got
doing,
one. Look at the
bro?
damage.
Bro.
Son.
Look at the damage.
Son.
Oh my God. Try to bait the flash kick out. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
The problem is Tyler's damage output is too low.
Yeah,
It's
not
too
even
low.
a
It's
quarter
too low.
of what
Oh my God, he
Ludwig
could whip
do
punish
with
that. You'd have been dead.
Look at that. Oh. So he doesn't even need to confirm. He's just looking for mediums at this point. Gladius with the armor. That's fine. He's going to do it again anyway.
There we go. That was nice. Baits out the
Okay,
throw.
set up.
Oh,
Anti-air,
anti-air.
Oh,
He
he's
knows.
got the anti-air.
Jump in, you're
He got
dead.
the jump in. It's
Ugh.
not enough to...
Okay, the forward medium punch. I like that.
Oh,
No,
Great
Nice,
armor.
nice,
That was good. That was good.
He
nice.
adapted. He needs the 3
He's
hits.
burnt
That
out,
was really
though.
smart.
No, that's not going to work.
That's not gonna work. It's a projectile, so
Projectile
that move is projectile
Yeah.
invulnerable. You
Ludwig
can't do
has
that.
scoped out. He
This
knows
is
as a
not
modern
it, bro.
player, He's going to
Bro,
react to the
Ludwig
forward
needs.
movement.
I mean, Tyler needs to go to
So he
character
just
select
throws out
screen.
the phalanx.
He needs to
Not
cool
gonna
off,
work.
bro.
Damn, my man did some research.
Yo,
Research.
I want to
He
know
was
which
studying.
FGC player hooked
Who
up
taught him? Was it
Who
Big
was
Bird?
training
Who is
Ludwig?
training Ludwig?
Who was training him?
Lazy
Yeah.
boredom?
All
Imagine
streams.
lazy
If
boredom.
it's lazy boredom, that's crazy.
Yay.
If we says anything in the interview
Who was
about,
it?
of course, then it definitely was lazy.
We need to know who Ludwig's coach is. Is he here in the audience? Stand up and admit it.
Oh, this is the Sonic Boom again. You
Yep,
see that?
Sonic Boom,
the
yep.
charge time is he's not getting it right.
Oh no.
Baited.
blocked.
That's about to be a quick
No.
5, bro.
You're dead.
Get
He's
the
dead.
timeout,
He's
bro.
dead. He's
Get
dead.
the timeout,
He's
Rob.
dead. Please
Get that timeout ready.
go to
Timeout,
the
timeout.
character
Oh,
select screen.
hold on.
This isn't
Hold on,
normal,
man.
bro.
Tyler, gotta figure something out.
What?
Kyle's hardest counter. Not showing his pick.
This is
Until
fair.
today. Scrub. I'm making a show.
You're
I'm
embarrassing
making a
yourself.
show. Hyping it up.
Tyler, you had a high master ranking. You're a multiple high master guy. Is that correct?
Yes.
I started when I agreed to this challenge, Platinum 3.
Oh, shit.
In an even battle, I would lose. So I've employed the art of war, buddy. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this. I had Slime play while I was streaming, and I pretended to convince you that I was practicing JP.
That was crazy.
I am so many levels ahead of you. The 10-0 has been prophesied since I agreed to it.
Oh my goodness, bro.
You are watching a cutscene. I hope you enjoy it.
He was in his head. He was in his head.
We love that.
Yo, this is bad.
Said, man. I think we got to get to the.
This is bad.
Hold up, no. Before we go. To be honest, did you think that he was this good?
What do you mean? He's playing Marissa. I have a 20% win rate against Marissa in solo queue. I can't beat anybody at Marissa.
Gal wins that
matchup. We getting a 10-0.
We're getting a 10-0, and it's all thanks to my coach. I want to shout out Zach Hankey. He's the Marissa God.
Zach
Shout
Hankey.
out.
What did he say?
It's a 10-0 here.
He already shouted out his coach is only halfway through the set. You got to lock in right now.
Lock the fuck
I just need to
in.
get a round. I'm going to be honest. We got to start with the round.
Let's get to it, y'all.
It's been
Come on.
2-0, 2-0. Please lock the fuck in, bro.
Let's
Not
get
like
back
this.
To it. The Friday Night Showdown presented Break Free by Visa. 5-0, fellas.
Oh my God.
I really think Tyler One needs to slow down, take a breather. We're also here to help. He hasn't.
Thank you, bro, at the character select screen.
Right like that. But
he's the ass.
I mean, I definitely know better.
For sure.
yeah, you definitely know better.
The damage output is just way too low for Tyler.
It's too
One.
low.
And the thing is, he's looking for way too many level 1s against Phalanx. The thing is, if you see Phalanx, just flash kick.
Yes, don't.
That's all it is.
Instead of
Right,
super,
you don't need
no
level
super.
1. You want to save for your level 3. If you have the level 3, then you could use that as threatening against
To
Phalanx,
finish the-
Gladius, everything.
Yeah, he has no he has no combos and he's modern. I don't think I've seen him do a single drive rush combo.
Movement and just doing it.
I don't think he even got coached at all. It's literally just him playing ranked.
Bro, did you hear his tech? He said he had someone
That's
else
crazy.
playing.
Yeah.
Levels.
I don't know if he even got, if he gets like a
was
punish
watching
counter heavy
cutscenes.
kick. I don't know if he'd even know a combo for that. Other than like, I guess a auto combo.
Outside of the game.
Does Moose have throw loops?
Oh,
no.
Safe jump again.
Again, he keeps trying to flash kick.
Hit by that every time.
You gotta hold back.
I need him to come over here.
A 10-0 is crazy. No,
I need
we're
Tyler
not.
to come over
I just
here.
want him to block the safe jump.
Yes.
I want him to know that he cannot.
We can start there.
flash
Block
kick
the safe
that
jump. That's it.
And
We can start there, bro.
Yeah.
And Ludwig is okay with him only flash kicking him all the time because he's always burning himself out.
He's gonna do it again.
Do it again.
Oh, no, he did.
Oh, no.
Oh, he went for the command grab.
Damn, we implemented a new move.
He waited
Gotta
for
watch
5
out,
games.
he's
to
got
do it.
that
He
level.
waited 5 games.
I'm in your head.
Got that level 3. Oh, he missed the
Sonic
side
boom
boom.
miss.
He didn't
Nah,
charge
Nah, I
it
can't
up.
watch this.
6-0.
Nah, I don't know if I can watch this, bro. This shit is bad, bro. This shit is bad.
Tyler's
He's
face
not-
on
he's
that
not
man's
stopping.
soul has left his body.
This is called
This shit
when you
is
get
bad,
tilted on
bro.
ranked. You don't
And
stop.
you just keep going. No,
Yep.
no. We're not on rank.
Bro.
You see right there, trying to go up for the throw was too far away.
Nice.
Bro.
Yeah,
has
that
to be
armor's doing
scared
work
now.
right now.
I don't think he even got
can hit
coached
that
at all,
low.
bro.
Look
It's
at
just
that.
him
Armor
playing
doing
ranked
work.
because he doesn't know a
You can hit
single
that low with the
BNB.
crouch meet.
Punish.
You gotta punish that.
Punish.
Okay.
It's like when we do the slams.
It's kinda
There's
hard
always
to
like
punish, right?
there's always
Especially
like
when
2
you're
to
not
3
used
people
to
that just
seeing
don't
these type of
practice
target
at
Oh
all.
yeah, of course.
And
I'm
then
just
that
hoping
round
he
robin
hears
hit.
me. That's-
Damn.
And they're like,
You got
oh
the headset
shit,
on.
I'm getting
You
cooked.
What MR are y'all placing this Marissa right now?
Oh no. Oh,
This Marissa has
be
got to be like
honest,
16.
this might be
16,
like a-
17.
Like a
Maybe just
like
like
a
a-
1490.
oh wait.
Maybe around
Oh,
that.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
around?
Correct.
Around.
Yo, okay. Okay.
Jab, holy shit.
Tyler.
Okay.
It's okay.
Tyler getting the round in.
See, you know what it is, right?
Like if that
Rob?
jab would miss and you got up and
The
smacked
reason
him,
why I
I'd
say
have
it's
cried
like
laughing.
1490, right? Even though Tyler 1 got 1600, maybe
No.
somebody got frustrated
No,
fighting
Tyler.
Guile. You know, sometimes you get those
Oh my
jammer
god,
wins.
you're
Oh
dead.
my
He's dead.
goodness.
So
Drive rush.
Don't spin the meter.
overheads,
Oh,
cross
my-
ups, perfect.
All right, right, don't get hit. He got level 3. You already know. He's going to take 60 of your health.
Yeah, I mean, whoever was his coach and told him to go Marisa is masterclass right now because this is paying off for Ludwig so well.
So well.
There we go. Okay, yep.
And actually,
Okay, there we go, Ludwig.
Oh,
finding
he tried to
success with
super
drive
right there.
impacts. But, okay. Okay, wait, no drive reversal.
Oh, no, we might get a game.
Those nerfs.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
gonna
he's
chip him
gonna try
out.
to chip him out with the sonic booms here.
He can level
Look at
3 him
the
from
chip
afar though.
damage.
Now look for the jump. Look for the jump.
Don't throw it.
Yep.
So, my level 3. He's looking for it.
Yep. He's looking. He's got that CA on deck.
Oh, he's
he's
just about
blocking.
to get the green back.
Oh,
Oh my.
Oh,
in the
no.
corner.
Uh-oh.
It's so scary.
Okay.
Okay.
We get a game.
Oh no, bro.
Tyler 1 is on the board.
Okay, we have an actual fucking set. Holy shit.
Let's go.
Holy shit. Okay. Okay, not the best
Yo,
start.
the comeback would be crazy.
Comeback would be nuts.
The Gladius.
Yes, he's trying to get out of the corner. There we go. You got to get out of the corner.
No.
Couldn't get the auto
Okay,
correct on that
he
one.
didn't do a combo. It's only a punish counter throw. It's not that
Oh,
bad.
almost the armor went through. Yep, look at that. Standing heavy kick.
No.
Oh,
It looks
You're
like Tyler
dead.
one just wants
If he
to-
does level 1, you're
Go
dead.
again, safe
Just
jump.
wants to-
He's gotten hit by that every time.
Ah, bro, please.
Burns him out.
Oh
Wrong
no.
one.
Oh no.
Wrong one.
He had already had doing the level 1 super in his mind, so as soon as he saw the jump.
Get it. Yep.
He should have done the anti-air level 1, right? Instead.
Oh, that's right. But is that option available in modern?
I think you have to do a manual input.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The thing is, it
I know.
seems like Tyler's also
Like-
trying to do modern, modern.
I don't know,
I would
bro.
say
This shit is
the
painful,
official
yo.
input for Sonic Boom as well too.
This shit is painful to watch.
Standing heavy kick. He's getting these trades.
Okay.
Yep,
Watch
yep,
out.
don't
One
take
standing
it.
medium punch is all Ludwig needs right now.
Yes, and
It's
Ludwig,
all
he
the
knows-
spacing right
He
now.
knows the combo. He will kill.
Okay.
Nice
That was
flash
deep.
kick.
That was a good flash kick. Okay, drive rush forward.
probably gonna be like
Keep it
7-3
lane, play
maybe,
it simple.
7-3.
She gotta come to you.
Keep that drop
think
gauge
10-2.
low.
Here's
Yeah.
the problem.
Three, maybe.
If he gets hit one
Try to
time,
guess.
Ludwig can kill him with that level 3.
That's why
He
he's
has
blocking.
to be so careful. Oh my
That was
goodness.
it. That was it.
The punish is a now.
Oh no! Just like I said, the level 3 now. Oh no, it missed! It dropped! It missed!
What was that?
Oh, why that
I've
drop?
never seen that drop.
I've never
It
seen
can
that drop. Yeah.
happen!
He just
What?
missed.
Drop.
It can happen!
I
It's
have
too far
never
away.
seen that drop.
I've never
Okay,
seen that.
maybe this is the fortune that
Mid-screen.
Tyler needs.
He should just level 3 the movie.
Nice, there you
Okay.
go.
Nice
Look
reaction.
for the
Tyler.
phalanx. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, if it's in the
Play
corner,
that
it will
Sonic
connect.
Boom game,
But
run
since
the
it's
clock.
So far.
Yes, this is how Tyler wants
I've never seen that. Wow.
Yep. Wait for it. The Superman punch is coming.
Yep.
There, see?
Okay,
smart.
yep. Yeah, you gotta be patient. You gotta know that he's gonna come after. Nice!
Oh, he's
nice!
adapting.
Yeah, he is adapted.
Confirm.
Plays the
I
lane
mean,
game.
Tyler's
Oh,
not
see?
bad.
He gets the Sonic Boom right there.
That messed up
But
the
it's not even a
Sonic
strange
Boom
game. He plays fucking League. It's not like he can't
Play it
adapt.
out.
Oh no! Okay, you gotta watch out for the phalanx now.
Oh,
no,
can't do
again.
that. You gotta respect
Can't
it.
do that.
Okay, hold on.
Nice. Okay, here we go.
Tyler
There we go.
2 officially now.
There we go. He's feeling himself.
Okay. Now is the sign right here. Can Ludwig
No, he did
keep
practice,
this
but his practice is
together?
ranked. No coach, probably. I highly doubt he got a coach.
Jump
He was
back,
just going
I
to do
like
ranked.
that. Go back
That's
to
it.
Nooch. He didn't have the flash kick charge.
I mean, you can tell he didn't practice
Okay.
because if he did, or
Oh,
have a
the
coach,
cross-up.
if he had
I
a
would
coach,
keep
he
you-
would know more combos than this. He's not even using level 2.
Nice.
He's using level 2 to chip out. That's it. From full screen when he's in burnout. That's it. He's not even like, he doesn't have a single driver rush BNB.
Forward throw. Tried to bait- he
No
tried to
boom
bait
loops,
out
no
those
nothing.
right there. Okay.
It's just modern guy auto combos.
He can afford to eat these flash
You train with
kicks, but
Knuckle
that's
Doo?
modern damage
Knuckle Doo didn't teach him no combos?
That's fine. Eventually,
Well, Knuckle doesn't use modern. So I guess it's going to be hard, but
one's gonna hit.
But he has to be careful because, like, if you phalanx and he keeps
he
doing
needs
all
like
these flash
at
kicks,
least
then
like one of the
he
level
might
2
burn
links.
himself out.
That was last second training. Oh, well, that makes
Okay,
sense.
medium punch again. Okay, back heavy kick. Tyler playing that nooch.
I think he can come back though.
Oh my
I
god.
look
He
at
can
the
definitely come
patience.
back.
I like the patience here. He's blocking a lot more.
Good
He's
stuff,
blocking
Tyler.
more. He's not just
Nice
recklessly
patience, bro.
DPing. The moment
Okay,
the
play
moment the
that
set
game,
started, he
play the
round
game.
star DP.
Yep, Sonic Boom every time. Negative on block.
There we go.
Oh, we got the modern reactions. Let's go.
Completely changed his style.
Completely.
Because he was practicing for EVO.
Oh.
Is Ludwig
punish
winning?
right there,
Yes.
but the medium
This shit was a
punch again.
beatdown.
It's
That shit
it's
was
like
5-0
literally a
until now.
vacuum. That button is a vacuum, I swear.
Yeah, he needs to bait out these flash
Okay,
kicks.
finds out that you can punish that.
There we go.
Can't jump on modern.
Now look, first time Tyler's gonna have level 3.
Yes. There's definitely. Oh no! Watch out. Ooh. Next hit.
Oh, we didn't get Oki. That's low.
Oh, he should be able to get the combo off of that. Yep.
Nice.
Side switch? No, go for the Sonic Blade. Okay, Sonic Boom. Could've gotten a sweep right there.
Okay.
Oh,
That's new.
Oh, he knows combos.
no, you don't got
No,
that.
you don't got those.
Sonic Boom.
Oh, you don't.
Uh-oh. Chip damage is available.
Oh no.
I thought he
Now
had
he's
it.
going into the round with no meter. Ludwig
No
sitting
meter.
on that full level 3.
Yeah, that level 3 is going to hurt.
That shit's gonna hurt.
tremendously.
And he's on
One
classic.
Punch from Ludwig.
Mama muscle right there. Oh.
But so far we haven't seen Ludwig use a level 3 raw to like go through a Sonic Boom. So-
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be in his game plan,
Right.
right?
So in other words, Tyler 1 could, if he can keep playing this game and just prevent getting his flash kick faded out or something, he should be fine.
But the thing is, one jump
Trying to
is
bait
all
the
she
DP. I
needs
see
at
him
this
trying to do it.
Oh, but back throw into the corner.
Tyler's actually playing patient though.
No,
you're
no,
dead.
you got
No,
to
level 3 him.
Not bad, not bad.
Oh,
He didn't do the right punish.
He didn't do the right punish at all. What's
Reactions.
punish counter level 3's ass?
Carried it out.
Sitting back, but
Wait.
he has the life lead right now.
Uh-oh, hold on.
Superman
Not
punch.
hard.
Why are we charging? The Superman
Level 3 is
punch.
available. Can
It's a
he use it?
projectile. Superman punch
Trade.
it.
My goodness.
That was a bad trade.
Oh no, we're trolling. Okay.
Yo,
Just
3 in a
Superman
row.
punch it.
3 in a row.
3 straight.
Why are we charging? Just Superman punch it.
That was nice.
We are.
But
That's why he
The charge punch is
And we're
reactable.
also
Like what?
not seeing Ludwig do as many Superman punches anymore.
Yeah, he's not doing Superman punch. So I'm like, why are we not using Superman punch?
Tyler
It's
One
literally
doing a
projectile
very
invo.
good reaction. Something a little too much earlier.
Yes.
Then it's safe too. There we go. Oh, he exit. What the fuck?
He's got to be careful. The one which flash kick is going to hurt.
Nice.
Oh, command throw. We add that on the arsenal.
I think Ludwig's mad now. I think Ludwig's mad.
He's using it now. Yeah, I don't know why he just randomly stopped mid-set using Superman punch. That's her
Both
best
drive
move in this
punch
matchup.
armor.
Like, I don't know, we just stopped using that.
Yeah,
That's like a Cammy fighting Gal and just not using spinning knuckle anymore. Like, what?
Flash kick.
Flash
Okay.
kick. Modern
It's
flash
all
kick.
little damage, but you know what I mean? If Tyler can make
Like,
it
why would
work,
we not
that's all
use that
matters.
move? Best move, like, what?
Oh, look at that. Look at that big trade, though. Throw. Watch out. OD flash kick incoming. Yep, there it is.
Scared of the DP. I mean, what's
Sonic
better
boom.
than doing the charge
I
punch?
think he's starting to read the
Again.
strategy. We are seeing some serious adjustment here from Tyler.
There's the Gladius again. Walking him down. Nice.
yeah.
Second
Nice.
hit.
The modern auto
Oh,
confirm.
that's
He wasted his bar.
Nice. Drop rush low.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Tyler.
we're starting to see some
No,
different
he
looks
needs to
here.
see the projectile come out, then Superman punch it.
This is,
You're not
this
supposed
is
to just
actually
do
a
it.
very important game, right? Because you go from like either 7-3
You gotta
or
react,
6
because he's gonna be stuck in recovery. He's gonna be forced to eat the Superman punch from throwing his projectile.
6-4 feels
7
big.
It's hard, but you can do it.
Yeah, 6-4 is a
good.
set.
Nice, slow.
Oh, yep. Great confirm off of the
Oh,
driver's
Nice.
base.
You
Sit
can
out.
kill here.
He's dead.
You can actually
you
kill
like-
here.
Yeah. Look at. Oh, no, he drops
Hold
it.
on.
Okay, wait,
But
wait.
he still has such a huge life lead.
Oh no.
But he burned himself out.
Oh,
Okay.
Level 3.
And he can still be splatted against the wall. Oh, did he block?
Oh my God.
He can still
Come
drive
back.
impact.
Drive
He
impact.
can still drive. No, he did it too early. He did it too early. It was the right idea, but it was too early.
Okay. Oh, okay. That.
Oh my God.
Hold
Okay.
on. Let's see what they have to say. Hold on.
Alrighty.
Hold on. Tyler,
It's awkward.
things are looking a bit
That
different
was
right
very
now.
awkward.
I said, but like I said, I didn't know who was gonna play.
That
I didn't know
was
anything about
very
what he was gonna do.
awkward,
He came
but
here
okay.
anonymous mode, playing LAN, playing off stream. So let me build it back up again, getting the muscle memory back. We're trying.
Okay. Are you feeling a little bit nervous right now? Look, his whole game plan switched up for you.
Look, Tyler is 1,600 rated. I'll tell you my account. It's Lil Tonka L.
Lil Tonka L.
Bro, what?
Lil Tonka.
I am 1,300 rated. I get my ass beat by Mai. Eat shit and die if you play Mai. I get my ass beat by Cammy. Eat shit and die if you play Cammy.
For 1,300, my man cooking.
Tyler has basically made the game a reaction to jump in and a reaction to pressure on block. He's really good at dealing with that, and that's why Gladius has to beat it out. It's a tough matchup.
Really
like if he plays it, you know, he can beat me. He's got to
really
learn.
shit is crazy.
The issue is he has no meaty. He's got no Oki. I don't think he knows what a combo is
Oh,
outside of the auto combos. That last round, that last round, bro. If you just knew the Oki for the DI, you win.
Hey, there's a reason you stayed anonymous and picked his biggest counter.
Biggest counter? I don't know biggest counter.
Yo, they talking crazy. Let's get back on. Let's get back on.
I
the
don't know about
sticks,
biggest
y'all.
counter.
Back on the stick.
Biggest would probably be like
My goodness. Shout out,
Cammy,
of course,
I'd
to
say.
Visa. This is the Friday night showdown.
Or
presented
like,
rate-free by Visa. The download's looking serious.
It's Gal's favorite easily, but like,
Okay, but
what the fuck did he round
Starting
start?
already. Okay, here we go.
He did
One
it
of the things
again.
that
He did a
hopefully
round
the
start flash
cross-ups
kick.
Are hurt.
He doesn't know what to do about safe jumps.
Going for the command throws.
The other layer.
He doesn't know how to deal with safe
Ludwig
jumps.
was playing Street Fighter 6.
The other layer.
There we go.
Wow.
See, you just do it on reaction. You don't have to just
Fine,
like
the DI doesn't do
just
anything.
throw it out. You do it on
Block
reaction.
it out,
He's
right?
stuck in
Wait for
recovery. He has a
the
lot of recovery when he does these
He
Sonics.
can take it, especially with the modern. He can take all.
These Sonic booms have crazy recovery.
All right, but there it is. He got his meter back now.
OD Gladius, let me see it. Try to get the tray with a stand heavy kick.
Brother.
Nice
Okay.
reactions.
That wasn't the OD. Oh,
My
Why
man
we
got
stop
these
blogging?
perfect parries, though. The perfect
So
parries.
maybe this would be
Crazy.
closer. Yeah, he gets a punish counter. He does like 20%, or he would do like the auto combo into level 1.
Almost got the punish right there with the medium punch.
Nice. See? Look at he just
That's
did it.
level
Look
one
at
right
that.
there.
Auto combo into
All
level
right,
1.
all right, nice chunk of damage. Okay.
Bro, he doesn't. What the fuck are these combos?
back to the Sonic Boom game.
You do like auto combo into level
A
1.
little bit at that
Brother,
drive
what the
gauge.
fuck are we cooking?
And that's okay. I
Oh.
mean, Ludwig's up so many
He just needs
games, he can
combos.
kind
That's
of,
all.
figure
Like
out
he
where
just
the back-
like, Tyler can play and win this. He just needs combos. I feel like he'd be winning this if he had combos.
Doesn't need it. Doesn't need it.
Doesn't even need it.
If he had combos, he'd be winning this because he's spending so much unnecessary meter that he could be using for level 2. But he doesn't even know level 2 combos either, which is part of why he needs combos.
You don't
Because
want that.
remember, Ludwig started 5-0, and if he gets 8-3, that means he erased the games that Tyler's gotten.
Sonic Boom. Oh, misses the Sonic Boom.
Didn't have the charge. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hey, this is gonna hurt.
We're not going to spend it yet. Tried to bait out the OD flash kick.
I like that. Wake up throw. Ludwig,
Oh, he's
yeah.
missing.
No super?
Oh, no super? What?
No
You could have
super.
killed.
Ludwig has been
Oh,
able
Risa, you
to
could've
walk
killed.
up to Tyler 1 so many times and just get these standing strongs.
If he spent all his drive, he
standing
would have killed.
punches.
Nice. I like that. Adding the Sonic Blade
that
into
was
the
a
mix.
2.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. He's burnt out. Tyler 1 can really capitalize on
Oh,
this.
no. That was supposed to be a flash
That's an
kick, I
input
feel
error.
like.
Yeah, this might be a
The
10-3.
problem was he
Flash
already
kick.
committed to the Sonic
Right.
Blade.
This might be a
So he was already
10-3.
too late
He did
for
level
the
2
flash
once,
kick.
but he didn't
He can take more advantage of Gal's
do
moves.
much with it. He just threw the booms. That's it. He didn't do like boom loops in a row.
Marissa doesn't have the best
Even
insight.
stand heavy punch.
You know, I
just
feel
choke
like
more.
I haven't seen a lot of DIs either. I don't know if they can handle it.
But
Like,
also,
throw
At
it out.
this level, you
Throw it out.
Yeah,
See?
show me.
Show me.
I've
Also
seen a
another
few
thing-
DIs. They
use some jumps. Marissa is
they've
weak
been
to
jumped
jump.
over.
You have to be ready to anti-air as Marissa. The game plan for Tyler Wayne, he's like, this is my game plan, right? And Giles just sits there down back, holding back. He's not really known for jumping, but here, you should
In
be
this
trying.
matchup?
Yeah, you should be testing it.
And the hardest part about this is
He gets hit by
I don't
these
think
jumps
anybody
every
prepared him
time.
for the Marisa matchup. Oh my goodness. Tyler 1 doesn't want to give Ludwig that match game, the exhibition game.
Oh,
The counter
no.
pokes.
Oh no. Not a 9-3.
Uh-oh.
I think he thought
Not
he
a
was.
9-3.
I think he thought he was still in Drive Rush Bazooka knee.
This is I don't even know, bro.
Okay. The auto combo string right there. Oh my God! Look at that attack in the drive game.
Yeah,
Mama
nice.
Marissa.
Well, here we go.
All right.
Get off me, Tyler says.
Nice tech right there. Level 3 is
Nice.
available for both parties on the next hit.
Okay.
Oh, no,
Oh,
the
you
melee.
killed.
Oh, he could have gone for a lot more.
Whatever.
Not on the Tim.
Okay.
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 Ready.
But it's not going to do as much damage.
That drop gauge is going to be really low, though.
It's still a good chunk for CA.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Slam dunk.
Oh, no.
No meaties. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
You got the drive gauge
Yep,
back.
you gotta
Walk
chill.
back.
Yep, we got plenty of green
Chill
now.
out. Chill out. No
I like
flash
the OD
kick.
Sonic Boom.
Careful.
Gladius right there.
No.
Oh, same thing.
Oh no, you can't do that.
It doesn't
You
work.
have way more recovery than him, so he's gonna recover before you and hit you.
Every time
Come on,
That's the
everybody.
third time
Do we
that's
want
happened,
to
or
see a
fourth.
comeback? Who wants to see a
keeps
comeback
losing rounds
from
'cause of that.
Tyler 1?
Save jump.
Cross up again.
100%
he's
safe
also
jump
trying
hit
to flash
ratio.
kick there as well.
100% hit. Okay, there you go.
Oh, he blocked
Finally.
that time. He actually got the
Finally.
block. Oh, no.
Get lost.
Is Ludwig playing
Oh,
with his
the
food?
armor?
Is he
I
playing
think-
with his food?
I think this is it.
That's
think
it.
this is
I
it?
think
10-3.
this is it.
It's
10-3.
exhibition point for Ludwig.
It's
Oh,
He's
no.
going to try
This
to
is it.
take this 10-3.
Everyone that wants Tyler won the
That
win.
was right,
Can we hear
10-3.
you? Give
Yeah,
him
you
the
got
noise.
it.
10-3 is
Give your man
10-2.
some power.
Misses the Sonic Boom again. No charge time. Gladius
Oh, no.
working out.
Okay, but again, that's just so little damage.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
It really doesn't matter.
Oh, here we go. Can we play the zoning? Let me get that knuckle to dang right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, but see, every time Ludwig lets him get that success, then he does the
Oh.
OD Gladius. Never mind. It's over.
That is it.
Ludwig takes it 10-3.
10-3.
Wow. That was interesting.
Assault.
Meet me right here, brother. My man, he putting his jewelry back on. That's how you know. Okay. To start things off, did
Yikes.
we enjoy that first intent?
Yikes. Just yikes.
Them boys that put on a show. Ludwig, again at the beginning, people will let it be known. They thought that you
That
might not have
was
been taking it
terrible.
serious. It's a farce. It's a joke.
Bring me
What's the
my
point of
money.
this? Whole time, it seemed like you proved something different.
I tried hard. I think that matters. I have a lot of pinned comments on Reddit. All of you eat shit and then die.
Damn.
The only thing that I want to say, Tyler, I hope you keep playing Street Fighter. It's electric to watch. GG's.
Electric to watch.
Yes, you've been watching on my. That's fine. It's fine. How you been in every one of my streams watching me? Download it on me. What are you doing? You couldn't go live one time and show me what you were doing?
I mean, I
He
like
did.
Street Fighter, but I also like viewers. It just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. It's
True.
That is true. Street Fighter doesn't get that much views. That is true. That is true. It's
Okay.
FGC. FGC's
Tyler,
niche. Fighting games are
It didn't
niche.
necessarily go as you thought. I think you were the favorite going into this. At least
After
for
she
a lot of
reacts
us
to the
in
down
this
kick,
single hard work, we thought
it
you might-
was
that you
not
would be
hard to block.
It didn't go
The down
how you
kick?
expected. How did you feel about the set?
Actually, the down kick thing.
Like I said, I thought he was gonna play JP. I was practicing.
I don't
with
play
JP
Street
and
Fighter, so
Honda.
I'm gonna see what
Up
is
until
not-
literally an hour
wait,
and a
which
half ago,
thing?
My thumbs kill. Like I'm like, dude, okay, this JP.
You mean the down
character's
punch
such-
thingy?
I played probably like 30 hours against JP. Yeah. He comes backstage. He's like, by the way, I'm not playing JP or Honda. I'm like, oh, great. He's
Oh, the safe jump.
Oh, nice. We're gonna be like, I don't know.
Yeah, you always
Maya,
block.
Chun-Li or something like that.
block.
Blocks and Marissa. I'm like, shit.
Nah, the only way
I cannot like
the
I was
absolute
thinking
only
about it the other
place
day.
where fighting games are not niche, and there's only one fighting game that's not niche, is Street Fighter 6, and that is in Japan. If you want views, you have to be playing Street Fighter in Japan. They pull hundreds of thousands of views of video. No, not even Punk pulls hundreds of thousands of views of video on Street Fighter 6.
I got a little bit tilted. I tilt a little bit. Bro.
Those Japanese in Japan though, yes, they do. If Punk were to make a Japanese Street Fighter channel, it would go crazy. But it doesn't work like that in NA. Like, this game is niche. Fighting games are niche in NA. Unless you're like a super casual game like MK.
been locked in seriously.
MK pulls hundreds of thousands of views, but it's literally just it's just the casual shit like character interactions and stuff.
Other than this game and like the
Street Fighter 6 is mainstream in Japan. Is huge.
Yo, this land was fun as heck. That over there, those pools, bro, that was awesome. This is my first like EVO pools, whatever. Sitting next to people playing and being able to like shit talk them while they're playing.
Oh wow.
Oh my god, bro, it's so much fun. I think I went like 2 and 2 in pools. I lost like, there was like 3 camis, by the way. What is going on? Why is there like 30 camis playing? But it was so much fun. Even in the losses, I learned so much from those guys already. It's been so much fun.
Okay, and do you got any final words for the people?
Yeah, shout out the FGC. The FGC rules. Every person I meet here is so much cooler than the evil villain I make in my head when I play you on ranked online. Online, you're a terrorist. I wish your death. Here, bro, you guys are so awesome. What part can I say? The terrorist thing?
No, the eat, shit, and die part you've said 5 times.
Then I'll just stick to you're a terrorist and keep it at that.
Oh.
But no, man, everyone in person is so great. I think that's what the FGC is so great. Like, why it's so great is that it forces you to come in person. Like, every other game you play online, like, you know, you're playing
true.
CS2, you play against, like, Gadolf Schittler, and, like, that's how the game works.
What?
Here you sit next to somebody, and maybe they have an equally weird tag, but at
What
least
is
you get to
wrong
meet
with him
them, shake their
today?
hand after. That's what makes the FGC special. So, shout out y'all.
Why is he? What? Did he just
Ladies
say?
and gentlemen,
He's not normally
one
like
more
this.
time.
I'm
Make
just gonna
some
assume
noise
he's nervous.
for
'cause he's
Ludwig
not
and
normal.
Tyler Ward.
He's not normally like this.
You should have picked Draven. For real. All right, guys. So of course that is gonna do it for day 1 of EVO. We are just now
Why
getting
did he
started,
say
and of
that?
course we're only going to amp things up from here. I've been your host, Hollywood Rock TV, with all
Draven,
of these
isn't that a
legends
lead
here on
character?
stage, and we will see you all tomorrow for EVO 2026.
W.
And of course, one more time, this has been the Friday Night Showdown presented Break Free by Visa. See you guys soon.
I made the guess of Marissa. I knew it was Marissa.
Sheesh, bro. Well, that's day 1 of EVO. That was day 1 of EVO. I don't know why he told the audience to die like 5 times. I have no clue why he kept saying that. Oh shit, works crazy. Why did he say that? Winner's high? I don't know. Anyways, announcements should start tomorrow. We didn't get that much announcements today, other than I guess the Avatar DLC. And saw some cool stuff. Day 2 is tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow. I'll try to start on time, but it's not gonna happen. I know that. But I will be on at like 3 though, or 2 or something like that, or whatever the same time I started today was. Let me pull up the schedule for tomorrow. That is hilarious. Like, I mean, it's actually pretty good that went fast because they were extremely behind schedule. Because the venue closes at 11. What time is it over there? Like 10:47? Yeah, they have to get out of there. They need to get out of there. Like, they're kicking people out. That's what happened to us. Like, if our shit went on for too long, you guys got to get out. You guys have got to get out. Like, it's just crazy. They will literally start force kicking people out. Like, you can't be staying this long. I will say I do have FOMO of not going though, because EVO is fun. But I'll probably go next year again. That shit is fun. LAN events are fun as shit, bro. They're fun as shit. You can see all your friends again, online friends and stuff, and just play games and chill out, go to dinner and stuff. That shit is hype. And then like after parties, the salty sweets. Someone hosted, I'm not gonna say who. Someone hosted Salty Sweets last year. I didn't go to it, but I should have went.